April 1945. Northern Germany. The war is dying, but it is not finished. Sergeant Daniel Mercer of the U.S. 30th Infantry Division moves through the shattered industrial outskirts of Nordhausen. Smoke drifts low over broken brick factories. The air smells of coal dust, and something else. Something sweet and rotten. Mercer is 24, Tennessee-born, a mechanic before the war. Now he carries an M1 Garand, helmet netted with burlap, boots caked in mud from weeks of pushing east. His unit has been told they are seizing a weapons complex, advanced rockets, intelligence said, secret weapons, desperation weapons. The Germans call them Wunderwaffen. A thunderclap echoes in the distance. Not artillery, different. A deep metallic roar that climbs into the sky. Mercer looks up, even through cloud cover. He sees the smoke trail, a thin white spear climbing vertically. Rocket, mutters Private Halvorsen beside him. They've heard of them. The V2 rocket, faster than sound. No warning. London never heard them coming. Mercer feels something unexpected. Fear. Not of bullets. Of minds capable of building such a thing while the world burns. They move forward. The complex is partially abandoned. Rail lines lead into tunnels cut directly into the Harz Mountains. Steel blast doors hang twisted from demolition attempts. The SS tried to destroy what they could before fleeing. Inside, the air turns cold. Concrete corridors stretch into darkness. Overhead lights flicker on emergency generators. Crates stamped with eagles and swastikas lie smashed open. Gyroscopes, wiring bundles, liquid oxygen valves. Mercer recognizes the craftsmanship, instantly precision engineering, far beyond anything he expected from a collapsing Reich. Then they find the prisoners. Women, thin, hollow-eyed, wearing striped camp uniforms beneath oversized work coats. Some are German political prisoners. Some are Polish. One whispers in French. They stare at the Americans like ghosts, uncertain whether the living can see them. Mercer lowers his rifle slowly. One of the women steps forward. Blonde hair shorn close to the scalp. Dirt streaked across her face. She cannot be more than 20. They are gone, she says in broken English. The engineers, the rockets, they send many to England. To Antwerp. Her eyes are not grateful. They are terrified. Halvorsen looks confused. You're free, he says. But she doesn't move. They told us, she whispers, if America takes this place, there will be worse weapons, bigger. Mercer feels the weight of that statement settle like dust in his lungs. Behind them, deeper in the mountain, something metallic slams shut. A distant engine coughs to life. The Germans are not entirely gone, and whatever remains in these tunnels does not want to be captured. Mercer signals his squad forward into the darkness. The mountain swallows them whole. The tunnel narrows as Sergeant Daniel Mercer advances. Concrete sweats moisture. The air smells of fuel and burned wiring. Somewhere ahead, machinery grinds with stubborn life. The Reich may be collapsing, but here, beneath the Harz Mountains, something is still operational. Mercer motions for silence. His squad moves in staggered formation, boots scraping softly across rail tracks embedded in the floor. The tracks disappear into blackness. Overhead, steel pipes run like arteries along the ceiling, liquid oxygen lines feeding something vast. A flicker of light spills from an open chamber ahead. Mercer edges closer and peers inside. A Vita stands upright in its assembly cradle. Even indoors, it feels enormous. 46 feet of steel and rivets. Its body painted in a crude camouflage pattern. The warhead cone matte black. Wiring hangs like veins from its exposed midsection. German technicians once stood here in white coats and leather boots, calculating trajectories toward London and Antwerp. Now the chamber is nearly empty. Nearly. A single German engineer kneels at a control console. Gray uniform, no insignia visible. Not SS, civilian contractor perhaps. His hands move calmly over switches. Mercer steps in. Hon Hock. The engineer freezes. Slowly, he raises his hands. His eyes are bloodshot but steady. You cannot stop what has already begun, the man says in accented English. Mercer's jaw tightens. What did you launch? The engineer says nothing. From deeper within the tunnel, a heavy steel blast door begins to descend with a hydraulic groan. Halvorsen shouts, Sarge. Mercer realizes the trap a second too late. The chamber they entered is part of a segmented complex designed to isolate explosions or intruders. The blast door crashed down between Mercer's forward team and the rest of the squad. 5 men are sealed inside with him. The German engineer smiles faintly. You are too late for the rocket, he says, but perhaps not too late to witness the future. Mercer lunges forward, slamming the man against the console. Papers scatter, blueprints, calculations. Something stamped with the name Wernher von Braun. Mercer recognizes the name from intelligence briefings. The architect of the V2, the mind behind Hitler's revenge weapon. Where is it going? Mercer demands. The engineer's lip trembles not from fear, but from something like exhaustion. Not London, he whispers. A tremor rolls through the chamber. Dust shakes loose from the ceiling. Far above ground, miles away, a rocket tears through the sky at supersonic speed. Mercer feels it in his bones. The engineer suddenly reaches for a switch. Halvorsen fires. The shot echoes violently in the enclosed space. The engineer collapses against the console. Blood darkens the papers, but his hand has already flipped something. A warning siren begins to howl. Red emergency lights ignite along the tunnel. The siren screams through the concrete chamber like a living thing. Sergeant Daniel Mercer feels it vibrate in his teeth. The blast door behind him is sealed tight. 5 Americans trapped inside the rocket bay. Beyond it, the rest of his squad cut off. Ahead, bootsteps echo with disciplined precision, not scattered stragglers. Organized, Mercer signals his men to fan out. They take cover behind steel tool cabinets and fuel drums, stenciled with oxidizer warnings. The towering V2 rocket looms above them like a monument to madness. The footsteps stop just beyond the far entrance. Then a voice sharp, controlled. Amerikaner, drop your weapons. This facility will be destroyed. Mercer glances at Halvorsen. Destroyed. Self-destruct. He scans the chamber quickly. Detonator lines run along the ceiling beams. Charges are set. The Germans prepared to erase everything. Mercer shouts back, you blow this place, you die with it. A pause. Then the entrance door cracks open just enough for a grenade to roll inside. Grenade! The explosion slams the chamber with deafening force. Concrete chips rain down. One of Mercer's men, PFC Lyle, cries out, clutching his leg. Smoke thickens instantly. Through the haze, dark figures move. Black uniforms, MP40s raised. SS. The first burst of submachine gun fire shreds a tool rack. Sparks erupt. Mercer drops to one knee and fires his M1 Garand. The rifle cracks with brutal authority in the confined space. One SS man falls. Another dives behind a steel crate marked light system. The Germans are careful, disciplined even now. They are not fighting for victory. They are fighting for secrecy. Mercer crawls toward the wounded Lyle, dragging him behind a fuel drum. You with me? Mercer asks. Lyle nods through clenched teeth. Another explosion rocks the corridor outside. Not grenades. Charges detonating deeper inside the mountain. They are destroying sections of the complex ceiling tunnels, burying evidence. Mercer realizes something chilling. This isn't just about rockets. It's about the knowledge. A bullet punches through the V2's outer casing above them, releasing a hiss of escaping pressure from internal lines. Liquid oxygen vapors spill into the chamber, rolling along the floor like ghostly fog. One stray round into the wrong valve. The entire room becomes a bomb. Mercer locks eyes with the SS officer now visible in the doorway, older. Scar across his cheek, iron cross at his throat. You cannot understand what we built here, the officer calls out. It will shape the next war. Mercer answers with another rifle shot. The officer ducks back, but Mercer sees it in his eyes' certainty. Outside, the mountain groans again. Dust falls thicker now. Hairline cracks spider across the ceiling concrete. They are running out of time. Behind Mercer, the rocket's guidance systems spark as wiring burns. Ahead, the SS prepares another assault. And somewhere above ground, the rocket launched minutes ago is descending toward. The hum deepens. Not loud, not dramatic, just steady, mechanical, inevitable. Sergeant Daniel Mercer feels it through the soles of his boots. Self-destruct. The Germans wired the mountain to erase itself. Dust drifts from the ceiling as detonations ripple somewhere deeper in the complex. Sections are collapsing one by one, methodical demolition. The SS officer at the doorway understands something Mercer does not. This chamber is only one piece. Mercer fires again. The recoil bruises his shoulder. An SS trooper spins backward, MP40 clattering across the concrete. But more move in behind him. They are buying time. Halvorsen crawls beside Mercer. Sarge, that rocket's leaking bad. The damaged V2 rocket hisses violently now. Liquid oxygen spills across the floor in thick white vapor. One spark could ignite the entire assembly bay, and the self-destruct charges are likely tied to the fuel lines. Mercer scans the control console where the engineer fell. Blood has pooled beneath scattered schematics stamped with the name Wernher von Braun. The panel is alive with warning lights, German labels, timers, 30 seconds, 2 minutes. He cannot tell. Another grenade arcs through the doorway. Mercer kicks it instinctively. The explosion detonates mid-floor, tearing into steel shelving. Shrapnel screams past his helmet. Lyle, still wounded, cries out again. The SS officer steps partially into view, pistol drawn now. You fight for ruins, the officer calls calmly. We fight for the future. Mercer feels anger rise, not hot, but cold. Future's over, Mercer mutters. He makes a decision. Halvorsen, cover. Mercer breaks from cover and sprints to the console. Bullets snap past him. One slams into the rocket's scaffolding, showering sparks. He dives behind the control panel, ripping open access plates with shaking hands, wires, relays. A mechanical timing drum rotating steadily. He doesn't know German engineering, but he knows machinery. Back home, he rebuilt tractor engines from scrap. Machines follow logic. The humming grows louder. Behind him, gunfire intensifies. One of Mercer's men goes silent. The SS are pushing closer. Mercer finds the main feed line, thick insulated cable running from the timing drum into a junction box marked spring-loading, explosive charge. He pulls his trench knife and saws at the cable. A round smashes into the console inches from his face. The SS officer steps forward, aiming carefully now. Mercer cuts through the final strands. The hum stops instantly. The warning lights die. Silence crashed into the chamber like a second explosion. For a heartbeat, no one moves. Then the mountain trembles again, another section collapsing elsewhere. The self-destruct here is stopped, but the complex is still coming down around them. The SS officer lowers his pistol slightly, almost disappointed. You delay the inevitable, he says. The pistol shot cracks like a whip. Sergeant Daniel Mercer feels the bullet pass so close it tears fabric from his sleeve. He rolls instinctively behind the shattered control console as more rounds slam into the metal casing. The SS officer advances, calm, precise, every step measured. Behind Mercer, the sealed blast door shudders under heavy blows. American voices shout through the steel, muffled but alive. They are trying to cut through with demolition charges of their own. The mountain groans again. Concrete dust rains down in sheets now. Somewhere deeper in the complex, fuel ignites. A distant secondary explosion ripples through the tunnels. The SS troopers know it too. They are running out of mountain. Halvorsen rises from cover and fires 3 deliberate shots from his M1 Garand. One SS man collapses. Another stumbles back into the corridor. The officer remains standing. He fires again. The round strikes the damaged V2 rocket high along its midsection. A violent hiss erupts as more cryogenic vapor spills out, thickening the chamber with freezing fog. One spark now could turn the entire bay into an inferno. Mercer wipes blood from a cut above his eye and makes a decision he never imagined making. Fall back, he shouts to his men. Toward the rocket, Halvorsen stares at him like he's lost his mind. But Mercer sees the geometry of the room. The rocket stands between them and the SS. If the Germans fire carelessly, they risk igniting their own masterpiece. The Americans reposition behind the towering missile, using its massive steel body as partial cover. The irony does not escape. Mercer using Hitler's wonder weapon as a shield against its creators. The SS officer pauses at the threshold. He understands. For the first time, hesitation flickers across his face. The officer lowers his pistol slightly. You do not know what you stand beside, he says evenly. This is only the beginning. London was practice. Mercer steadies his rifle over the curved hull. War's ending, he replies. You just don't hear it yet. A tremor stronger than the others shakes the entire chamber. Cracks split open along the far wall. Overhead lights burst, plunging sections into flickering shadow. The tunnel behind the SS begins to collapse, chunks of rock sealing their exit. The officer glances back. For a fraction of a second, he calculates survival over ideology. Mercer sees it. He fires. The round strikes the officer in the chest. The man staggers, drops his pistol, and falls backward into drifting oxygen vapor. The remaining SS retreat instinctively, some dragging, wounded, some disappearing into smoke-choked corridors. Then, a thunderous explosion slams against the sealed blast door behind Mercer. Metal buckles. Light floods through a widening gap. American engineers break through with cutting torches and shape charges. 30th Division. Someone shouts. Mercer lowers his rifle slowly. The chamber is a ruin. The mountain breathes dust and fire. Sergeant Daniel Mercer steps through the torn blast door as American engineers flood into the chamber. Faces blackened with soot, cutting torches still hissing in their hands. The surviving SS have vanished into collapsing corridors. The wounded are dragged out, first while pale but conscious, gripping Mercer's sleeve as medics move him. Whole place is coming down. An engineer shouts. Charges everywhere. Mercer nods, but his eyes stay on the rocket. The crippled V2 rocket still towers in its cradle, bleeding vapor like a wounded animal. Even damaged, it radiates power. He feels the weight of what it represents, technology. Years ahead of anything he's seen. They cannot let it be buried. Secure the guidance section, Mercer orders. Rip out whatever you can carry. The engineers hesitate only a second. Then they climb the scaffolding, wrenches biting into bolts, hands working fast despite the tremors. Panels are pried loose, gyroscopes carefully removed, wiring harnesses cut and bundled. Every piece matters. Somewhere beyond these tunnels, American intelligence officers are already racing east. The Soviets are advancing too. Whoever claims this knowledge first will shape what comes after the war. Mercer understands that now. This is no longer just about defeating Germany. It is about what the world becomes next. A distant detonation slams through the complex. A support column buckles. Concrete splits with a gunshot crack. 5 minutes. Someone yells. Mercer moves back toward the outer tunnel. There, in a side chamber near the rail tracks, he finds them again, the women prisoners. About a dozen huddled together, wrapped in scavenged blankets. They have not fled. The blonde woman from before watches him carefully. It is over, she asks. Mercer wants to say yes, but the mountain shakes again, and the lie catches in his throat. It's ending, he says instead. You need to move, now. One of the women gestures toward the deeper tunnels. There are more, she says quietly. Below. Mercer freezes. More prisoners. She nods. They build rockets. Many die. The realization hits like a punch. This facility is not just engineering brilliance. It is a grave. Mercer turns to Halvorsen. Get them topside. All of them. Find transport. Halvorsen hesitates. And you? Mercer checks his rifle, then looks toward the descending lower shaft, where faint cries echo beneath collapsing stone. I'm not leaving them buried. He moves toward the rail elevator platform that descends into darkness. Behind him, the rocket chamber groans under failing supports. Above, the war is almost finished. The rail platform shudders as it descends. Sergeant Daniel Mercer stands alone on the metal grate, rifle slung tight across his chest, a single flashlight beam cutting through the black shaft. Above him, the mountain continues to collapse in distant, muffled detonations. Below, the air turns colder, thicker. The elevator grinds to a stop. Darkness swallows the light for a moment, then Mercer steps forward. The lower tunnels are narrower, rougher, not engineered for rockets, engineered for labor. The smell hits first. Sweat, oil, rot. Wooden bunks line the walls. Hundreds of them, empty now, except for blankets so thin they are nearly transparent. Tin cups, wooden clogs. He has seen camps before, but this feels different. Here, the work never stopped. A faint sound breaks the silence. Coughing. Mercer moves cautiously down the corridor, rifle raised. The flashlight beam trembles slightly in his hand, not from fear of gunfire, but from what he already suspects he will find. In a side chamber, dozens of prisoners huddle against the wall. Men and women both, emaciated, eyes too large for their faces. Many wear striped uniforms marked with colored triangles. Political prisoners, foreign laborers, some Jewish inmates transferred from other camps. One man struggles to stand when he sees Mercer's uniform. Amerikaner, he whispers. Mercer lowers his rifle slowly. Yes, he says. You're safe. The word feels fragile in the air. Safe. A woman near the back begins to cry, not loudly. Just a quiet collapse of sound, as if she has forgotten how to weep properly. Mercer steps closer and sees what they were building down here. Rocket fuselage sections. The steel bodies of the V2 rocket were assembled above, but here, in this suffocating darkness, they forged the segments, welded them, polished seams until their fingers bled. The name of the program is stenciled faintly on a crate. Mittelwerk. He remembers hearing the intelligence briefing an underground factory, connected to a labor camp, known as Mittelbau-Dora. This is it. The secret weapon that terrified London was born here in starvation and forced labor. The mountain shakes again. Dust pours from the ceiling beams. The prisoners flinch instinctively. How many more? Mercer asks. The man answers through cracked lips. Hundreds. In other tunnels. Mercer swallows hard. He keys his field radio. Static. Then faint response from above. We found more, Mercer says. A lot more. Send medics. Stretcher teams. Everyone. A pause. Sergeant. The voice replies, strained. Upper levels are collapsing fast. You've got maybe 10 minutes. Mercer looks around at the hollow faces staring at him. 10 minutes to move hundreds who can barely walk. The coughing man grips Mercer's sleeve weakly. They told us, he whispers, these rockets would win the war. Mercer shakes his head. No, he says quietly. They lost it. But the mountain roars again, louder now, and the tunnel behind him begins to crack. The crack in the tunnel wall widens with a dry, splitting sound. Stone dust rains down over the prisoners. Sergeant Daniel Mercer doesn't have 10 minutes. He barely has 5. On your feet, he says firmly, moving from one group to the next. Lean on each other. We move now. Some try. Many cannot. A young Polish prisoner attempts to stand and collapses immediately. Mercer slings the man's arm over his own shoulder. The weight is almost nothing, just bone and cloth. Behind them, the mountain groans again. Timber supports snap one by one like rifle shots. The lower tunnels were never meant to survive demolition. They were meant to be sealed, buried with the evidence. Mercer keys his radio again. Send ropes down the rail shaft. We're bringing them up manually. Static answers him first. Then, copy. We're rigging lines. The rail elevator platform is dead, power cut somewhere above. They will have to climb. Mercer organizes them as best he can. Small groups, he says. Stay together. Follow the light. He hands his flashlight to the coughing man from earlier. You lead. The man nods weakly, clutching it like something sacred. They begin moving down the main corridor toward the vertical shaft. Boots scrape. Bare feet drag. Every step is a negotiation between survival and collapse. Halfway there, the tunnel ahead caves in. A violent roar. Rock slams into rock. The shockwave knocks Mercer to his knees. Two prisoners are thrown against the wall. When the dust clears, the passage forward is half blocked by debris. The only way through is a narrow gap barely wide enough for one person at a time. Mercer crawls first, dragging loose stones aside with bleeding fingers. He clears space inch by inch while the prisoners wait in terrified silence. The coughing man squeezes through next. Then another, then another. Behind them, the ceiling drops, another shower of rubble. Mercer glances back. The rear section of the tunnel is beginning to sag completely. He counts quickly. Still too many. He forces himself back toward the remaining group. Move, he shouts, not cruelly, but urgently. Now, a woman hesitates, staring toward the deeper darkness of the lower tunnels. My sister, she whispers. Other block. Mercer feels the weight of that request like a physical blow. He knows the truth. There is no time. Another explosion thunders somewhere above, closer now. The gap they crawled through shifts as debris settles. If it seals, everyone still below dies. Mercer grips the woman's shoulders. I'm sorry, he says quietly. He pulls her toward the opening. One by one, they squeeze through. When the last prisoner crawls across the debris, Mercer follows. Just as the tunnel behind him collapses completely in a wall of stone and choking dust, darkness swallows the lower levels forever. Mercer emerges into the shaft chamber, gasping. Above, ropes drop down through swirling smoke, and far overhead, daylight glows faintly. But the shaft walls are cracking too. They must climb. The ropes sway in the smoke like lifelines thrown into a storm. Sergeant Daniel. Mercer ties the first loop around the waist of the coughing man and signals upward. Haul. The rope tightens. The prisoner rises slowly into the gray shaft, boots scraping against cracked concrete. Pebbles rain down with every tremor. Above, American soldiers brace their feet and pull. Below, the remaining prisoners wait in stunned silence. The mountain is no longer groaning. It is failing. Mercer moves quickly, loop, knot, signal. One by one, the prisoners ascend. Some are too weak to hold the rope, so Mercer climbs behind them, pushing from below, forcing his own strength into their ascent. Halfway up the shaft, a section of wall shears away. A slab of concrete crashed past, smashing against the lower platform in an explosion of dust. A woman screams as the rope jerks violently. Hold, Mercer shouts upward. The line steadies. The woman reaches the top. Hands grab her, pull her into daylight. Mercer descends again for the last two. The young Polish prisoner clings to him as they begin the climb together. The shaft tilts subtly now, fractures running like veins along its length. Mercer can see the opening above, sky choked with black smoke. American helmets silhouetted against the light. Then he hears it. A deep internal rumble. Not another demolition charge. A structural collapse. The entire lower complex is giving way. Go, Mercer tells the prisoner. Climb. He pushes the man upward and follows close behind. Halfway up, the rope jerks slack. Someone above loses footing. Mercer locks his boots against the wall and braces, holding the rope taut with both hands while dust blinds him. Pull, he roars. The line tightens again. They climb the final yards. Strong hands seize Mercer's web gear and drag him over the edge just as the shaft below implodes. The opening collapses inward in a deafening roar. A plume of dust erupts skyward, then settles into heavy silence. The mountain is sealed. The secret factory of Mittelbau-Dora is buried beneath its own rubble. Mercer rolls onto his back, coughing, staring at the gray sky. Around him, medics move among the rescued prisoners. Blankets, water canteens, quiet reassurances in broken languages. In the distance, trucks already load salvaged rocket. Components, guidance systems torn from the damaged V2 rocket. Intelligence officers move quickly, carefully, as if handling something sacred. The war in Europe will end within weeks. But Mercer understands something now. The rockets built here will not disappear. The minds that designed them will not vanish either. The future the SS officer spoke of is already forming somewhere beyond the smoke. Mercer sits up slowly. He looks at the rescued prisoners alive because the mountain did not take them. Then he looks east, where another army advances. The war is ending, but the race for what was hidden inside that mountain has just begun.